Welcome to today's session of reconfigurable system design. Today we will be discussing about modeling of latches and flip flops. So, the learning objectives will be like we want to know what is latch and flip flop, what are the difference between latch and flip flop. We will see how to model a reset in behavioral modeling. So, there are two types of reset called asynchronous and synchronous reset. So, how to model it by Verilog coding, that we will see. Following by we will model two flip flops JK and T flip flops. Okay. So, coming to latch. So, as we know, latch is an asynchronous circuit which is used to store one bit of data. So as soon as you will switch off your device, it will lose the data. It can't retain the data once it is switched off. It can be used as a memory device, but it is not in synchronous with clock. So, we can treat it as a asynchronous device. Okay. And these are, that is why also called as level sensitive, act as a bistable multivibrator. Okay. So, whenever, so as you can see in the right side, a snapshot taken from Xilinx simulation window. So, here the latch will be having mostly one output Q, input as D, enable and reset. So, you can have latch without reset, but here we have taken reset, so that we can able to initialize output to a certain unknown certain value. It may be 0 or 1 depending upon your requirement. So, mostly we go for a 0 in this example. Okay. So, now when enable is asserted here, so if your whatever input is there, that will be started storing in the latch. Okay. So, if enable is always on and the input is keep on changing, then it will continuously update the data to the output. So, this is about latch. So, now as an example, if you will see, so we have defined a module with dlatch underscore reset. So, as we have taken a reset bit as a input, so we named it so. So, D and enable and resets are the three inputs and Q is the output, which are single bit. So, that is why you can see these are input, these are output. Okay. So, as we are trying to create a latch and the output will be visible at Q, 1 bit Q. And we will be using always block for designing it. So, Q has to be assigned with corresponding output inside the always block. So, we have to define Q also as a reg. So, now if you will see, this is not a synchronous design, you can say it is a asynchronous design where there is no clock, and if you will see in this design we have used a always block, we have used an event trigger where in sensitivity list we have taken enable, reset and D as the input parameters. So, that indicates if any of the input of enable, reset or D changes, this particular block will start executing. So, in order to reset the output to 0, we are taken if clause. So, if reset is high, then Q is equal to 0. Okay. So, it shows that my reset is active high. So, we can take also active low reset by using not of reset, but in this case reset is active high. So, if in this case it is showing if reset is low and enable is high. So, in order to operate, the latch should have input enable point should be high. Okay. So, if reset is 0 and enable is equal to 1, then it will start transferring data from D to Q. That means, it will start storing the data which will be available at the Q output. Okay. So, if you will see here, it is written in latch else part is not defined, that is why it is latch is created. So, in if else condition, if you are not providing the part of else, like you have written like if enable is equal to high, Q is equal to D, and you are not providing that what is the condition if enable is 0, in that case the synthesis constructs will or synthesis tool will create a latch for your design. So, in this case if you will see, as we have not specified what is the value of Q at enable equal to 0. So, it is going to create a latch by itself. Okay. It is actually, you can say it is a partly an inertia of Verilog coding that in if else, if you are not providing the else part, then latch will be created automatically. Okay. So, in this case, as we desired a latch means, or we want to design a latch which is our requirement. So, no need to give an else part. So, by chance if you are giving your else part, then it may create certain other logic gates depending upon, because if you are giving else and you are writing q equal to 0. So, there may be a chance it may be getting a d AND gate along with one of the input as d and other may be 0. Okay. So, if you dedicatedly require a latch, and generally in if else we do not provide all the conditions. Okay. Similarly, this also happens in case structure. If all the possible combinations are not being assigned with a value, then latches are created. Okay. So, before going to flip flop, so it depends why you require latch. So, mostly latches are being avoided in FPGA design. So, if it is not dedicatedly required that your design should have a latch, then we generally try to avoid latches. Okay. So, there is a problem lies with latches called as inferring of latches. So, that we will discuss in other classes, like one class I will discuss about synthesis constructs of SDL, Verilog SDL. So, which constructs are synthesizable, which are not. So, those part at that time I will discuss in detail about inferring of latches. Okay. So, if it is not desired, we generally try to avoid a latch, but if actually latches are required for your design, then we can design this by using this method. So, next is D flip flop. So, D flip flop is again another storing element which is used to store binary data, but these are difference between your latch is that these are edge triggered. So, if there is a positive edge triggered or negative edge trigger, some controlling inputs like clocks is there, then D flip flop will start storing the data. The benefit is that flip flops are designed in such a way that it is best suited for timing analysis of the digital circuits rather than latches. Okay. So, to differentiate or to have a comparison between latch and flip flop, so latches are level sensitive, that we know, whereas flip flops are edge triggered. That means, if there is a control input clock is there, and if it is positive or negative edge triggered, then only flip flop will be used to start storing the data. Okay. So, latches continuously transfer data from one input to output. That means, if enable is high or asserted or on always, then it will start continuously storing data or transferring from input to output. Means storing data will be available at the output queue. Okay. And in flip flop case, it depends solely on the rising or falling edge of your clock. Without that, it can't start or initiate any storing process. So, latches, as we know, a basic 1 bit latch has a 2 input, you can say 2 NAND gates. So, in order to convert the latch to a flip flop, you may require another few NAND gates. Okay. So, we can conclude that latches will have less area than flip flops. So, that's why here it is written more area, but subsequently flip flop will have also more powers. Means flip flop consumes more powers than latches due to you can say larger area or more number of gates required to build a flip flop based design. Okay. But this is maybe a demerit of flip flop, but the here flip flop means it is a synchronous based design. Okay. So, but the benefits are like this is very suitable for timing analysis, whereas in latches to maintain the timing analysis, it is you may require more effort to do, or you have to follow certain additional methodology to meet the timing requirement. But in flip flop case, whole time setup time will be given, and accordingly we can able to do the timing analysis by using static timing analysis method. Latches may have glitches or race around conditions, but in flip flop it is glitch free. So, any sort of spike can be it can be not further propagated due to clock, and race around condition also you can avoid by using, like you can have master slave terminology or methodology to avoid race around conditions. latches are noisy, whereas flip flops, as you may not have glitches, and also flip flops are noise free, but as far as speed is concerned, latches are faster than flip flops. So, if you require a like nowadays all the few modern SOCs like you can say NOC and all, network on chip, in that they use asynchronous methodology so that it will be more faster. Okay. So, depending upon that this latch and flip flop has both pros and cons. So, according to your requirement you can use it. Then modeling the D flip flop using synchronous reset and asynchronous reset. So, before modeling we need to understand reset, because as clock is very necessary in sequential design, at the same time reset is also one important input which may affect the output. Okay. So, mostly reset is used to initialize the hardware to a known state. Okay. So, mostly we know that we can use a reset to initialize the output to 0, and we can use a preset to initialize the output to high state. So, in in Verilog coding you can use both preset and reset terminology, but mostly at least once one input is required, then in that case people used to prefer reset, so that you can at least initialize the output to 0. Okay, from where you can start designing your code. Means you, if it is a flip flop, at least it will start to have a, at starting it will have a 0 state, from where it can it can be used to start to store other data. Okay. So, there are two resets, one is called synchronous reset, another is called asynchronous reset. So, here we use for same D flip flop. Okay, in D flip flop same we have taken one clock and input as D and output as Q, and this input as reset. Okay. So, so as it is synchronous, so reset will be has to be applied in synchronous with the clock. So, that means priority will be given to the clock than you reset in synchronous reset condition, whereas in asynchronous reset condition resets would be independent of the clock. So, we have to give another priority to reset. So, that means both can be applied at a time. It is something like reset can be applied independent of the clock applied. Okay. So, if you will see here, we have written D clock reset Q, and inputs, outputs and rage Q we have defined. Then as this is a always block and this body will be sequential in nature. So, the way this is executing the line, this matters while writing the synchronous or asynchronous reset coding. Okay. So, here as and again the sensitivity list also matters. So, here if you will see, here we are only having phases of clock, but here we are having both phases of clock and neges of reset. Okay. And this is used by a OR symbol, that means OR here allows that reset will be independent of your clock. Okay. So, okay, let us first see the asynchronous part. So, when always at the rate of poses of clock or neges of reset, that means either or will be applied, the either or will be applied, this block will start executing. Okay. So, if clock is transiting from 0 to high or reset is becoming negative, this block will start executing. Okay. So, it shows that reset is independent of your clock. Okay. So, if you will see here, I have taken reset as active low. So, we have given a sign here. So, so first reset is meeting here, then second is then Q equal to D is happening with a different conditions. So, when if reset is low, the Q will become directly 0. So, that means I want to say that the reset is triggered here. Okay. So, if my reset is triggered here and here reset is a condition in the using a OR condition, then reset can act independently. So, if reset is low now, then Q will become 0, and when reset is opposite of low, that is your reset is high, at that time your D will be stored and which is available at Q output. So, here this sensitivity list plays a major role in deciding the asynchronous reset or synchronous reset. In synchronous reset case, if you will see your poses of clock is there, but we have removed the negatives of reset with ORing with poses of clock. Okay. So, now the entire always block is sensitive to only clock, that is again positive edge of your clock. That means, if there is a triggering from any low to any high, I told also what is poses in earlier classes. So, if there is a trigger from or clock is from low to high, depending upon that the block will be executed. So, in that first it will encounter the reset low. So, here also active reset is active low. So, when reset is low and clock is there, then my output is 0. So, you can't independently apply the reset here in synchronous reset like your asynchronous reset. And again when clock is there and at the same time reset is high, then the D output will be stored and available at the Q output. Understood? So, this is how we can code the synchronous or asynchronous reset. So, in order to model this, or what diagram will be created. So, if I will say that this is my Q and this is my D and this is my clock. Okay. So, I can write here like this is reset. Okay. So, this type of block will be created in asynchronous reset. That means, if reset you apply, the Q will become 0 independent of the clock input, and so that is why we have taken reset is entirely not depending here on the clock input in this particular block. Okay. So, but in synchronous case if I will do, so let us say this is Q, this is clock. So, in this case the D input I can take a mux here. Okay. So, in mux this is 0, this is 1 and here I can put reset. Okay. So, now you just tell what is the output. So, now if you will see, let us say this is my D and this is my 0 now. Okay. So, now if my reset is, so what the code says, if my reset is low then output is 0. So, if you will see my reset is low means it is 0, then this 0 will go here, and again depending upon the clock, if clock is available then only Q will become 0. Okay. Anyway, whatever input is coming, that is now clock dependent. Oh, this is for synchronous. So, this diagram. Okay. Understood? So, this if reset is low, Q will be 0 provided clock should be there. Okay. So, now reset is 0, then this 0 is going here, clock applied, then Q will become 0. So, now if I will make reset is equal to 1 here, which is the opposite case of reset equal to 0, then D will be available here. Okay. So, this you can say some other terminal, this is let us say D of the D flip flop, okay, and this is my D of the D flip flop and D is the input here. So, now if reset is high here, then this D is available here, and if the clock is edge triggered or positive edge triggered, then only Q will become D. Okay. So, by seeing this we can conclude one thing, like if I am designing a synchronous reset, a bit extra hardware is needed. So, maybe mux, but again that is not required in case of asynchronous. So, this is how the D flip flop will be created after synthesis is done for both synchronous or asynchronous reset. Now, comparing the two cases, differences between asynchronous versus synchronous reset. So, asynchronous reset will be faster and synchronous reset will be slower, because synchronous reset anyway depends upon the clock input. So, till clock is not edge triggered, it has to wait, whereas asynchronous is independent. Okay. And in fast case reset, asynchronous case reset gets highest priority, whereas in synchronous case clock has to get the highest priority. does not require presence of clock to reset the circuit in asynchronous reset case, whereas in synchronous case clock has to be there. If clock is triggered, then only reset will be used to reset the output. Okay. So, the demerit of asynchronous reset is it may have glitches and it may have metastability issues, unstable output, okay, which will never be there in case of synchronous reset. So, glitches can be avoided with proper application of the clock, and mostly till the clock is triggered, the data is stable, then output will also be a stable one. Okay, so, metastability can be avoided, and asynchronous reset we saw that it requires less number of gate to implement the circuit, but in synchronous case it require more number of gates. So, depending upon your application, you can choose synchronous or asynchronous reset. Okay. So, mostly nowadays many designs are there like high performance CPUs, where you require a higher performance, that means your frequency of operation or it should be very fast. In that case asynchronous designs are being used. One of the example is NOC, network on chip, and in synchronous wherever you want that the design will be purely a synchronous design, where you do not have you do not require a metastability or glitches, then you can go for a synchronous design or synchronous reset. Understood? So, depending upon that you can choose this between these two types of reset. So, mostly one reset is there always. So, then modeling of another two flip flops called JK flip flop. So, JK flip flop will have one input as J, then K, clock input, then reset input, and output Q bar you can take. So, those are being defined here, input output range and where range Q, and Q bar is it is not of Q. So, instead of writing here in the case, this is done by using case construct. So, instead of writing here by case, so we have directly assigned it in the outside with a concurrent assignment statement. Okay. So, till every time whenever Q is changed or Q is evented or event trigger will be there, that means 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, Q bar will be changing its state opposite, that is not of Q. So, obviously when there is a so now Q will be event when this always block will start changing its values for Q. Okay. So, now this two block will act parallelly. So, depending on again here we have taken asynchronous reset. So, depending upon again next reset. So, neg edge reset, that means if reset is low output is 0, you can take it pose edge of reset also, that is allowed. So, neg edge of reset. So, if reset is low then output is 0. So, in opposite case when reset is high, depending upon the JK conditions you can choose between the outputs for the Q. Okay. And whenever Q is changing, automatically Q bar will change here. So, no need to write Q bar here. If you are writing Q bar here, then you can write down like Q like when J is J is 0, K is 0, it is something like latching the value like Q equal to Q. So, obviously Q bar will be also equal to Q bar. So, if you are writing here Q is Q, then Q bar equal to Q bar, then two statement will be there. So, you have to write a begin end pair here. Are you getting? So, more than one statement means begin end. So, you may have to write a begin end here. So, to write two statements here. So, if you are writing individually Q and Q bar in the same line for any conditions. Okay. And before to that, as J and K are two different inputs and case always take a condition here which is vector in nature. So, either it is one bit or it is a vector bit. Okay. So, that is why we have taken this as a concatenation operator, which is with combination J K now become a 2 bit vector. So, we can use 2 tick B00, or additionally if you want if you write 1 tick B0 comma 1 tick B0, that is also allowed. Two types of conditions you can write down. So, as this is 2 bit vector now, so directly you can write out 2 tick B00, or this also you can write down. This will also do the concatenation and create a 2 bit vector for you. Okay. So, at 00 Q equal to Q, at 01 it is the reset condition. So, output will become 0, at 10 it is 1, at 11 it will do a toggling. So, that is why Q is equal to not of Q, and in all the cases I have used non-blocking methods or non-blocking assignments. So, as we discussed that for sequential design using non-blocking assignments are better than blocking assignments. Okay. So, you prefer to write sequential designs using non-blocking assignments less than equal. Okay. And so, depending upon whatever value of q is changing here, q bar will update its values each time. So, this is JK flip flop using case. So, you can do also if else, but case is easier to write. Then the last one is T flip flop. So, here again you know that if my JK is there and if I am sorting it or joining these two, then J is 1 when I am giving. So, K is 1. So, it will behave like a toggle flip flop or T flip flop. So, that is why when now we can assign this as one input called T. So, when T is equal to 1, Q will do Q naught, and when T equal to 0, Q will latch the last value. Okay. So, in some codes you will find people used to write down the condition for T is 0, but if you will not write also it will latch that due to that property of if else. If you are not specifying the else part, it will latch the value. So, we have taken T, reset, clock as the 3 inputs and Q is the only output. Input output defined, then respectively we have defined the Q because it has to assign in always. So, we defined as a rage block. Then after that again asynchronous reset I have taken. Negage of reset is there. So, if reset is low, so as I have taken negage here, so I am taking the low, active low, I am making it active low. So, this sign is given. Okay. So, if reset is low, output is directly 0. In other case like reset is high, in that case T should be high to have a Q equal to naught of Q. Okay. So, if T is 0, by default it will latch the data. So, that is why no need to specify that condition. Okay. So, this is used T flip flop mostly we can use for designing counters. So, in next class we will try to model different types of counters, up counter or down counter, loadable counter, divided by counter, like sometimes it will divide the frequency by 2 or by 2.5 like that.